Yeah.
Scan detected.
Yeah. I'm doing it on YouTube. Like, I'm streaming mine, but DJ's streaming on Twitch. Nervate.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2.
I mean, that's how it is in Tarkov, though. That's the game, basically. Oh shit, Stormy's here. Who's that? Of course. So the stream is about to start right now. So I'm already streaming, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute you guys and get ready for the stream itself. We can get 2 wings up. We got 5 people. If Inafando comes, we got 6. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna mute. I'll be listening to you guys, but I won't be responding, so I'll just follow your guys' leads. T7. Oh. Well, I can't pull him. I don't have an interdictor, so someone else can come get him. Yeah. So you can dock at Russell Ring and resupply there, but if you die, you're going to the prison ship, which is only 5 light years, but still, you have to wait. Yeah.
Good evening, Yamiks.
Hello.
Sup?
Yamiks is here. Was that a filter here as well?
Yep.
Yamiks with the click
So
clack
dudes.
attack.
I guess.
Of
And
course,
there's a
all of them.
There's a Lala.
How y'all
And a
doing?
Lavang, I believe I heard. Did I hear a Lavang?
Yeah, I'm here.
And I think no answer from Obsidian or Ryan yet. Oh no, Obsidian's
Ryan's
here.
on
Good
as
evening,
well.
Obsidian. Oh, Ryan's here. Hello, Ryan. Right, so the first thing we should definitely do is a round of introductions, really, shouldn't we? Because there's a lot of us here. So I'm gonna go in the list, like the order of the list in Discord, because that's in alphabetical order. So we start with Lavang Fan. Good evening, Lavang. Who are you, and what do you do?
I'm Levan G fan. Probably a French streamer, apparently.
The best French streamer, Lavang.
I'm you know, as most of you guys know, a Elite Dangerous streamer and variety caster on Twitch.
So next in the list is the wonderful Malik VR.
I'm Twitch streamer and do a lot of the science-related stuff in Elite.
And next up would be the wonderful voice of Elite Dangerous, Obsidian.
And I believe he's got
Mic issues, of course, because it's Discord, and that's how things go. So the voice of the Elite Dangerous is silenced. So next up, we will circle back round to Ange. Oh no, maybe now. Is your mic working now? I'm going to take the silence as an unfortunate no. The next person we're going to introduce you all to is one of the leaders of the Privateers Alliance, Filtor.
Hello, I'm Filtor, part of the combo of Filtor and Wicked Lala, which is Privateers Alliance, and stream, and mostly play Elite. I'd say 90% of the time I'm playing Elite Dangerous.
Okay. And there we go. Good evening. So the next person we'll introduce then, as I've said, the voice of Elite Dangerous, the wonderful Obsidian Anne.
Right.
And how? Oh yes, we can hear you just fine, sir. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. We can hear him, but he can't hear us.
Warning. Temperature critical.
So,
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
you can hear us now. Hello there. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Sorry, we were just. I was introducing you as the voice of Elite Dangerous, and you're mainly based on YouTube.
Yep, all on YouTube. Yep, 99% on YouTube.
And the next person we'll be introducing is one of the most interesting people in this panel, I will say, but possibly one of the least well-known. But he's here because he's one of the more knowledgeable people, and that's the wonderful Ryan M17.
Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing?
And so, where might people have heard of you, Ryan?
So I am a member of one of the, I guess, more well-known groups. We're known as we're well known within the community, but probably not for nearly the same reason that everyone else is. So I'm a member of Smiling Dog Crew, SDC. So I basically spend almost all of my time in game PvPing, shooting at other people, which I'm doing actually right now on stream. We're ganking an FAS in Airvate. He's about to die. 2%. I mean, I have not spent a whole lot of time in game since 3.0 dropped, but I come back every now and then to have some fun. Oh, he's dead. Rest in peace.
Hey, you're not a true elite dangerous.
So that's what I'm doing.
Hi, Ryan.
Right. And then the next person, and seriously, we have a lot of people here this evening. The next person is the wonderful Wicked Lala.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Well,
I'm very well.
Pretty much covered it. We stream together. We primarily play Elite Dangerous. Our children both play Elite Dangerous, and we run the Privateers Alliance.
And last, so, you know, you save the best for last, right? In this case, we threw that idea out the window, and we saved Yamiks for last. Good evening, Yamiks.
07 and all that stuff, of course.
And where would people know you from, Yamiks? As if I have to ask.
Right, I know, right?
I'm
Well,
being polite, and you know.
Them YouTubes, yes.
The
I'm that
YouTubes.
minority here, apparently. Whoa-ho-ho.
Now,
Whoa-ho-ho.
and I'm the idiot in a spaceship. You don't need to worry about me. Right, I have gathered all of these people because between us, we run some of the more active groups in Elite Dangerous. We're all content creators and represent I think, that side as well as you possibly can. I think between everyone we have here, we have almost every style of content. You know, from virtual reality only stuff to community driven stuff, PvP stuff, PvE stuff. We've tried to cover as much of the game as humanly possible with the people we have here. Obviously, Frontier have asked for feedback on squadrons, and that's what we're aiming to provide this evening. So I guess the first thing that I'm gonna start this off with a negative question. What's the one thing that you think is wrong with? You know, if you could change one thing with the suggestions Frontier put out as a starting point for this discussion, what's the one thing that you think is wrong? What's the one thing you think should be changed? And we'll start with Yamiks this time.
Oh boy, where to start? Well, after reading through the whole thing, first of all, we don't have much information in general, so there's not much to go on anyways, and pretty much everything else that we can go on with is pure speculation or theory crafting, and now that is a thing that I tend not to do. But I suppose the biggest issue I had from the 4 why questions that I rose after reading focused feedback thingamajig was, let's see, which one was it? Yeah, I'd say that would be the amount, an arbitrary number of people being limited to one squadron. It doesn't matter if it's 10, it doesn't matter if it's 200, it doesn't matter if it's 2,000. It's an arbitrary number that I don't like to see, and that I find the biggest issue.
So your biggest issue is just the cap.
The fact that they want to cap them, yes.
Yeah, okay. Brian?
To be honest, my main concern right now is just the lack of detail that we've been given. To properly
That's my second.
To properly give focused feedback, we need to know what they want the framework to look like, or what their current understanding of what the framework is. And so, like, when the first focused feedback thing dropped, I had like one of the more upvoted comments on the thread where it's like, they've given us no detail, and that's almost exactly what I expected, which was, you know, when we got the engineers rework, when we got the crime and punishment rework, they gave us a lot of information right out of the gate so that we could have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
You want to get the big changes that people want earlier rather than later, and to give that information, you have to, by definition, give us the information, right? What do you want it to look like, so that we can say we don't think that's going to work, and here's why, or we think that's going to be great, and here's why. I just kind of feel not necessarily kneecapped, but kind of like we're fighting with our hands, like a hand tied behind our back, because I don't know what they want it to look like, beyond we want this is going to be guilds, you know.
Yeah.
That's all I see is we want this to be guilds, and that's what this is basically going to look like, and all this other stuff is going to be a little bit different. So I don't know. It's kind of disheartening for me.
So just lack of detail in this initial section.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see how you feel towards the end of, because obviously this is a multi-stage thing. The squadron's feedback, isn't it? It's not going to be a one-off thing by any stretch of the imagination. It'll be interesting to see how we feel at the end of it, because I do kind of agree with you. But it'll be interesting to see how we feel at the end of it. So, Malik?
Probably the same thing as Yamiks. The whole 250 person limit right now is it severely limits a lot of the bigger groups. It's going to be one of those things, if they plan on adding some kind of larger unit on top of it, say fleets are made out of multiple squadrons, it won't be as bad, but yeah, as it stands right now with the information we have, there's a lot of just not sure right now.
Fair enough. And
Yeah, I kind of go with the sentiments most other people have said already. I think in a number of ways, Frontier have put the cart before the horse with this. They've kind of come out the gates and told us they want the squadrons to look like in terms of the structure,
yeah.
the membership you can have there, and the ranks. But they're not really told us what they beyond. Would have thought that there would perhaps be some new game loops in there for squadrons beyond what's already in the game.
Yeah, which we haven't seen any evidence of yet.
Well, didn't they say that they
were part of that? But
didn't they? I think I remember them mentioning that you're gonna have to grind mats to make the ships jump and stuff. So I mean, I wouldn't really call that a new gameplay loop, but it's something, I guess.
It's you. I would expect a lot of what happens with it will use existing mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think quite a big thing is, although they're saying they're looking into it, in one squadron rather than multiple squadrons.
Yeah,
So you've got players out there who are members of Fuel Rats, for example, and people who are members of the Hunted Truckers.
Yeah.
Position where you have to force a player to choose one or the other.
Yeah, this is a discussion Filter and I were literally having yesterday or day before.
During the actual stream.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the Sovereignty and the Privateers Alliance have members that are in both groups. Both sets of leaderships are completely happy with that. Oh god, yeah. Why, like, you know, why they choose our two groups? Who knows? But if we are forced to, you know, if people are forced to choose between one or the other, that's not good. It really isn't. So I'm going to finish this round of questions, and then we have a new method for how we're going to go through who's talking. But I want everyone to have a chance to answer this one. Philtor?
Yeah. So I'm going to take a different sort of approach here. I was really disappointed with the management options, the roles and all of that. I could work around having multiple squadrons, but the limitations for managing roles and, you know, what those roles can do, you know, just having the leader, officer, and all that, it just doesn't, that doesn't jive with me. We need more. We need custom roles. We need the ability to say, okay, I want this person, or this group of people here to be in charge of being able to jump the carrier. I want this group of people here, you know, able to add and remove and moderate people.
Yeah, more roles. Something I'm entirely in favor.
Lala and I were having that discussion about how difficult it would be to manage like that.
Yeah, we've been having similar discussions within the Sovereignty. So Lala, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, the limitations on the members of squadrons is very difficult. I mean, in PA we have so many types of players, but the players tend to kind of do more than one role. And if there's only one person, we run so well because we have management and several managers in specific areas, because we're very big on real life first. So what happens if one of the managers over one of the squadrons isn't there? Then what do we do?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to make that work. There's got to be a multiple roles. And I mean, I'm elaborating on myself. It has to be, otherwise it's going to be impossible, and it's just going to be another gameplay mechanic that is supposed to be there to look pretty, but isn't really going to do anything or be interesting.
Yeah, it needs to be the permissions in particular need to be really configurable. And you know, to be honest with you, like, I can understand there being a limit to the number of sort of ranks you can have, but if you look at most successful MMO structure, like guild structures within MMOs, none of them have got as few as 3 ranks. And I think that says everything, unfortunately. So last, but by God no means least, Lavang, how about you, sir?
I'm gonna go with the player cap on the squadrons. So
that's interesting. How big is your group?
We're pushing, like, I think we're up to like 165 people.
Yeah,
but
so
like
we're slowly at the cap yet, but you're
we're not at the cap, but we're like gradually getting more people in.
Yeah, absolutely, and that will become a problem for you in the future. Yeah. So Yamiks, you have something to say, I believe. And guys, if you look in chat, we've got a thing where if you put 1 dot, you'd like to say something. The more dots you put, the more you really, really, really want to say something. So we're going to use that. That's quite a clever system for keeping track of.
You can say thanks to Lave Radio who showed me that, actually. But
that's a really clever system. I love it.
Indeed. Right. Right. So the whole. Aside from the whole 250 or the, as I said, arbitrary number of capacity of a guild or squadron, let's just go with that. The additional thing, I'll basically mimic Ryan here, who said that, you know, they seem not to really know much of what they really want to do with it, or hasn't been developed, or well, at least in the whole Q&A stream that Frontier did with Adam and Bill. I don't like to call out individuals, I never do, and I try not to, but Adam, who was presenting it this time, wasn't really certain or able to really answer a lot of questions, and he gave, at least to me, he gave this sense of the whole feature is basically not properly even started being designed or something. They're basically fishing for information tremendously at this point. Sure, I might be wrong, as I most of the time tend to be, perhaps, or perhaps not. But that's at least the impression I got, and the whole focus feedback thing is also pretty much, or, well, felt like that to me. They don't really know what to do with it, or they really haven't really started designing it, or it's, well, just started to develop or whatnot. Anyways, DJ?
Yeah, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here to that. I agree with you, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, it's not. Absolutely not a bad thing. Of course, you can. The sooner they start to ask questions about a specific feature that, well, let's be honest, Elite Dangerous is not that particularly familiar with cooperative gameplay and multiplayer. So having at least some sort of initial input, so the dev team knows what the player base actually wants, is a good idea. But I expected a lot more details, as a lot of other people did. And I'm not talking about the stupid fleet carriers. That's another topic.
Yeah, the fleet carriers, they've made very clear that that's going to be something we loop back round to.
I have things to say about it, but yeah.
We'll see when we get there. We don't know. I mean, for Lord's sake, that really is one where we just don't know enough yet. We really don't. We do not know anywhere near enough about what's going on with fleet carriers to really talk about it, other than they're obviously upgradable. The concept sounds cool. Let's see about the execution. As far as all the stuff with squadrons goes, though, I'm actually really happy that they've started talking about it when, and I agree with you, when they clearly haven't crystallized precisely what squadrons is going to be in their head. I don't think that they have a clear. I don't think they have like a clear direction. And I don't think that they have a clear sort of end game for what they want guilds to do. I think they want to see what we want from it. Part of that comes from the fact that, as always, it's Frontier learning to do things their way. And that involves them sort of, muddying about a little bit and working it out on the fly. Part of it is the, let's be honest, the more that they do listen to their player base, the more chance there is that the diamond in the rough ideas come out. You never know who's going to open their mouth and say something that turns out to be actually really, really important. So Filter and then Yamiks, go.
So one of the things that really concerns me right now is the general attitude on the forums towards this. I see a lot of clamoring for these features to also be made available to solo players, and I'm worried, because they've done this in the past, that FDev will try to cater to that group as well as the multiplayer groups, which is going to really sort of screw things up. Because this is a multiplayer, thing. This is not something for individuals. This is meant for groups. And Frontier...
Yeah, this feature, you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, right,
and,
okay, just wanted to... Yeah.
And Frontier is so concerned about those people who want the solo play that I'm worried that they're going to dumb it down for the multiplayer groups, and I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there.
Yamiks?
Right, so the whole idea of asking for basically design ideas on how to develop things or how to change things. Now, in previous focused feedbacks, practically all of them, in fact. If you remember correctly, if you read any of them properly and what else, you did actually see that they had clear ideas as to what the feature is supposed to be and what the feature should sort of do, or does, in fact, signifying the fact that they actually developed something. Now, the issue I have with this whole approach is that they are using the community as basically their own design team. While that is a fine thing, now I don't particularly want to see this to be a habit of asking community to design things for them. DJ?
So, this is actually an established pattern with Frontier. It's just that with most of the features, by the time they ever get to this part of it where it goes public, relevant people have been talked to behind the scenes.
And that is always how it happens, yes.
Yeah, and so what
this is a bit
is,
different now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and what the difference is where before they'd go to individual groups that knew a particular system inside and out. This isn't like that. This is the creation of a new system from the ground up, and it's one that's primarily community focused, which I believe is why they've decided to open it up so early. And they have decided to open it up so early. But what I want to avoid us doing is getting sidetracked onto that too much. Whether or not they provided enough information, whether or not they, and I can understand those complaints, don't get me wrong. But they've asked for feedback, we need to give it. My biggest concerns from what they've released so far truly do revolve around that player cap. Particularly for groups, to be honest with you, any group that's over 150 people, they should be worried about that. Even for smaller groups, why you would be against the larger groups being able to actually have all their own people in one group, I don't know why you'd be like that, but okay. I can understand that it doesn't affect you, but that's a very silly way of looking at things. The other thing that I do really worry about is people only being able to join one player group or one squadron. Sorry. Even within the sovereignty, even without the 250 person cap, we know full well we will be setting up multiple squadrons. We have 2 separate player groups, one in the bubble, one in Colonia. Both of those will have a squadron, and then there's likely to be some stuff for the home fleet and that sort of thing. Forcing people to join a particular squadron within that and not be able to be part of the other squadrons really sucks. And that's before you then talk about the people that are members of other player groups. Now, they said about being able to do alliances between squadrons and that sort of thing. They're my 2 biggest concerns. But my 3rd concern, and I'm going to be the voice of Bognogus here, is that these squadrons need to be able to be tied in with our background sim factions.
That was my also another why question. Why, if you can't do the whole super powers, then why not just, normal minor factions? What's the problem?
But yeah, that's me. Ryan, you want to say something? Go.
Yeah. I definitely think that FDev may have not fully considered the ramifications of only allowing 250 people, because, I mean, you saw the outpouring on the forums of fuel rats. That there's more than 250 fuel rats, right?
Yeah, there are.
So, I mean, you're going to end up with people that are, and especially if you're only allowed to be in one squadron at a time, people are going to have to choose what group they want to be part of. And that's going to lead to potentially the destruction of some well-known groups, where you've got scores and scores of people leaving because, yeah, they're loosely affiliated with, Adel's Armada, but really they have their own faction that they use, that they would prefer to back if they're forced into a corner. So
yep.
I just don't see the 250, I don't see that persisting. I think they'll probably move it up to maybe 500 or maybe more, or just some random number. And I would be very surprised. So let me rephrase that. I would not be surprised if they leave it as just one because of some limitation that we're unaware of. But I think that that would be a very bad idea for them to actually go live with only being allowed to be in one. I could see maybe only being an officer in one, so maybe you have to choose a little bit smarter about where you need to be officers. But to be like a recruit level person, I don't see a reason to limit it to just one. It seems short-sighted.
I 100% agree with you on that.
Definitely.
Obsidian.
Kind of related to the player cap again, and Frontier have said they might look into the potential for alliances between various squadrons. So, for example, I don't know how many members you've got in. How many members you've got there?
Broke up a bit there, and I think you need to lower your detection setting ever so slightly in Discord. But if for the sovereignty, it's about 1,500 people, something like that, and I have no idea. It's about 1,000 for the PA, isn't it? Something around there.
Yeah, our Inara says about 96, because that's what we go off of.
The cap to say 500, that would still be 3 squadrons you'd need to break the sovereignty down into, yeah?
Yeah.
Different leaders.
It
Actually,
makes...
risk fragmenting the. They've got to be 3 people that you trust, which obviously you've probably got that, but things happen sometimes, don't they? Kind of open up the possibility for any player group to become multiple player groups.
Which could be a good or a bad thing.
I don't see that as a good thing, to be honest with you. I really don't.
It could be for some groups, but for the vast majority of us, good God, no.
Because I mean, it'll end up
option that wouldn't otherwise be there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's going to end up fragmenting a lot of well-established communities, and I just don't see that as a good thing for most groups. Like for PvP groups, like the groups that I interact with most of the time, nobody's even approaching 250 members. Nevertheless, 250 active members. But I think a lot of it's going to also depend on some of the additional features behind the scenes that we're maybe not aware of, because I know you're going to be able to pool resources and stuff like that. So, I mean, but I mean, the other side of the coin, play devil's advocate, you know, do you want these, if there's not an upper limit, there's the incentive of a group to get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Because you have more resources and you can do more things with more people, you know. So is it better to have multiple smaller groups or a couple of core huge groups? I don't know.
Yeah. And Yuri in my chat is bringing up the point of, and Yamiks going to come back to you in 1 second. Yuri's bringing up the point that, you know, about active numbers. And no, not everyone within the sovereignty is active at any one time, but we do prune our Discord regularly to remove inactive people. So the only people that are in there are actually, or at least have been very recently, active. Yeah, the sovereignty is that large. Yamiks, you have a tirade. Go on.
Oh boy. So old man Yamiks will be telling you kids how things are. Well, alright then. Right, so first of all, let's talk about the technical aspect of the whole 250 or the arbitrary amount of squadron cap. Now, in the whole live stream, again, returning to what Adam said and so on and so forth again, perhaps Adam wasn't the most perfect person to ask why, you know, there's a cap, why, you know, there needs to be a capacity in a squadron, but let's just say, you know, there is a reason. All right, so the question is, okay, so what is the reason to have a capacity? You know, why limit squadrons? Is it really the moment where you know, server storage is that expensive these days? I mean, I understand RAM prices are insane these days, but no. If any schmuck can really just pay up and create their own squadrons, then really the capacity really shouldn't matter in that case. So obviously that's a joke point, right? Capacity is there just probably in some coding aspect of the game. Either the game's code itself doesn't allow, you know, squadrons to be bigger than that, making just the whole team or people that have been working on it look kind of incompetent, which wouldn't be great, but whatever, that's that. Or what else could there be? What other reason would there be to limit it? Because balancing aspect, really, it's a guild system. Limiting guild system for balancing is kind of a dumb thing. So again, I was just asking, or rather I was wondering, and I was, well, willing to listen and wanted to hear Adam say something about the limit as to why it was put in place, as to why they can't increase it. And that answer from him, well, he just can't, because technically...
They most definitely didn't say they can't increase it. That I would say.
No. Adam, I distinctly remember, said, it's technical difficulties. We're gonna see what we can do to increase it, but it's technical difficulties. That's paraphrasing what he said. If I am wrong, please somebody well, correct me. But
well, yeah, but the
again,
key thing is that they're looking into raising it, so it's not a set in stone figure.
Yeah, still, the amount that they put forward was still extremely small, and again, coming from Planet Side 2 back in them days, a free-to-play game, an FPS game, is capable of doing basically that without a pay-up need and all that stuff, and, you know, have infinite amount of, well, seemingly at least infinite amount in one guild, aka outfit, in that particular game, right? And what's the problem in this game? I wanted to hear why. That was my main, well, one of the main why questions. Why do you need to limit it? What's the reason? Please explain us. Explain it to us. There we go. And Filter, go.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, I was really worried about the, you know, once again, the solo aspect of this. They were talking about, you know, eventually having people being able to visit other people's carriers and all that stuff. Well, imagine if everybody is able to get one, what a CG system would look like. Now, they could also get around this by adding a filter or something like that, but we're talking like just a ridiculous amount of carrier ships showing up in one system, and God only knows what type of problems that could cause.
One thing they did say about that is that it would require more than one person to create a carrier. So
okay. All
yeah,
right.
that was one thing they did say. Brian?
So I'm actually hoping that a whole bunch of carriers start showing up in systems, because I vaguely remember, I may be wrong on this, but I vaguely remember Ed mentioning that they can be killed. So I'm very, very, very interested about how the mechanics behind that, whether they can be killed, what that process is, what the outfitting process is for carriers, and how they interact. Like my outstanding questions are, how do I make it jump, right? Like how do I get my fleet carrier to jump? Is there a limit to how many people can be, like how many ships can be aboard it? Can I resupply? Can I use it as a staging location regardless of wanted status? There's a lot of questions, and obviously how can they be found and how can they be killed? Because I can tell you from my perspective, if they can be killed, that is all I will be doing. I will only be killing carrier ships. That will become my core gameplay. And if they can be killed, I can guarantee that there will be a Reddit post 4 hours after they drop that SDC has managed to kill a carrier. I know that is my goal for day one when this drops, is to kill a carrier first. Hopefully they can be killed, because I think that'll give the incentive for people to protect their ships rather than just jump them some arbitrary place and forget about them. But it'll be interesting to see how you can track them down if they can be killed. or if you just have to happen upon them, you know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what mechanics they decide for that. And but let's not stray too far into fleet carriers. We'll do another one of these when fleet carriers come. We've talked about wanting more ranks and more permission systems. That's definitely important. We've talked about the fact that we want people to be able to join multiple squadrons. Again, really important. I also completely agree with what Filter has said, where this needs to be a system that really is tied to player groups, not solo players. Give us something special. A lot of work goes into these player groups. A lot of effort goes into them. Give the player group something special. It's about time. Now, alongside that, there's some awesome things about what they're suggesting. Now, one of the questions that has come up in chat is, what's the point of squadrons? Well, the point of squadrons is that it gives us in-game tools to organize and represent our player groups, which is something that I personally have been clamoring for a very, very long time. Now, Yamiks has got something to say about ranks.
Well, it's pure and simple. Again, they put in 3 ranks, and honestly, as a designer or wannabe, whatever else, at this point, coding in more ranks shouldn't be that hard. Really, it shouldn't. Again, so expect rank amounts to increase. The question is, how much will they be willing to increase? That's up to developers to decide. We can only help them, or rather persuade them. So let your opinions known in them focused forums and so on and so forth. Personally, I don't know. Again, since I haven't ever led a big, outfit guild, whatnot else, but I've been part of one. 10 ranks is already stretching it for something like 1,000 player, guild. So option to even just, a good thing would be actually to put in a system or whatever else you want to call it, to just create your own ranks, willy-nilly. I mean, it'd be just a cosmetical change for, a tag, like just like in Discord, right? You put in a tag and that's it. It doesn't really give you much. Well, let's take Discord minus all those, permissions and all that stuff. Just a cosmetical little tag. That's it. How hard that would be put in. So there you go. I don't know. Malik?
Myself, I've been doing a lot of Guild Wars 2, for example, in the afternoons, while still doing Elite in the mornings. But for me anyway, because that's the game I've been playing the most, it's one of those things, like, you look at the established MMOs out there and the functionality that Frontier are suggesting about it. It's you can't come into the game with what is pretty much what is the standard of basic functionality across every other MMO out there. The fact that the three role limit right now, no other game does that. They allow you to just keep creating roles, but every role has different permission level. Other things like, again, this is a Guild Wars 2 specific thing, but it lets you be in 5 guilds, but you're only able to represent 1 at a time. Like, things like that would, if something like that were brought into Elite, get rid of the whole 5 guild only thing, but say, yeah, you're representing Sovereignty today and Hutton Truckers tomorrow and Fuel Rats the next day. Allow us to kind of switch on the fly or something like that. The 250 people limit, again, going back to Guild Wars, when you start a guild there, it's a 50-person guild. Once you reach 80% of that limit, you can then pay more money and then upgrade your guild to the next tier. Now you have a 100-person guild. When you reach 80%, again, more money, and you can keep on upgrading it. But I think theirs, maxes out at 500 or something. I think, like, some things in that I could see would be really nice to be carried over to Elite. It's just, it's one of those things. Frontier have never done an MMO before, so this is like their first kind of foray into the thing too.
Yamiks.
Right, so, yeah, actually, here's a little point, a little interesting thing to think about. So, let's say, developers actually in their own stream said, or at least Adam said, that they're thinking about, allowing players to join multiple squadrons. Okay, if you choose to do so, you do realize that also that limit that you put on, that you suggested, is way too small. So, if you allow one, then the other one needs to be tremendously higher. So, think about that a little bit.
Other thing that I'm really kind of worried about is, let's say they did say, okay, yeah, you can be in multiple player groups and all that kind of stuff. The problem that I'm worried about as well is, I'm just going to use the sovereignty as an example, but we would, for example, create a BGS, a background squadron, and we would have the Bureau of Sovereign Sciences, the boss squadron. The problem with that is that, let's say I felt like doing my science stuff. Okay, cool, I'm doing all the science stuff, I'm in the boss squadron, but then tomorrow I feel like doing some BGS stuff. Well, if they don't allow us to, if they don't allow us to be in multiple groups, now I have to leave a group, join another group, get my permissions set. I have to wait for somebody to do that, and that kind of stuff too. If they don't allow to be in multiple squadrons, if they keep on having this limit, now you have to deal with permissions set up, and I won't be the only person dealing with that. There would be other people in the groups wanting to swap around and stuff like that, do different things one day, because I mean, I know not everyone plays the game like I do, but like I might do combat one day and trade the next and passenger missions the next. I don't want to sit there and be swapping between the different sections of squadrons and have to wait for someone to be setting permissions and all that kind of stuff constantly, because that would get old very quickly.
So, how does the filter? You've actually put dots in. I was literally about to say, how does the PA feel about this?
Well, actually, that was one thing I was going to bring up. Was I was really worried about multiple squadrons and BGS tie-in, because I'm assuming that they're only going to allow one squadron to one faction. Like, I don't think they would allow multiple factions, to be, or multiple squadrons to be tied to one faction.
I'm not sure, because they said about alliances between squadrons. So I'm
Right.
not. But then we don't know, and this is the area where I have to admit, this is the bit that I'm like, no, we need more information about this.
Yeah.
How do we tie it to our like, you can't tell us after all this time of working on the PMFs, as they're known, the player factions. You can't tell us after all that time that we now get this entirely separate entity.
Right.
Yeah.
There has to be cohesion, and this is something that I did want to steer us towards. I'm glad we sort of organically come to it. And yeah, from the PA's perspective, I assume, and I'm gonna stop talking over you here. From the PA's perspective, I assume that's really, really damned important, isn't it?
Yeah, we've really sort of morphed into a pretty heavy BGS ground. I mean, we still do everything, but a lot of stuff that we do is still related around the BGS. And what I'm concerned about is if we have to split things up, then we have to then have our BGS folks have to be in the BGS squadron, right? They're limited now to that squadron. And then we have these other ones that are, what do we make them? Do we make an explorer's wing? I mean, how active are those, squadrons, sorry. How active are those squadrons actually going to be, being forcibly tied to certain activities or something like that? That's something that really concerns me about the limit, and also just the squadrons tied to the BGS factions, only being one or whatever. That's all theory crafting, but it's still something that I'm actually quite worried about.
I agree, and I guess my biggest worry, I said this in this group before we sort of kicked this all off. Let's not make this a system. This system, if done well, will rejuvenate elite in huge amounts, like in huge amounts of different ways. If it's done badly, it could screw everything up. Let's not do it badly. Anne, you'd like to say something, please, sir.
Going back to the whole purpose of squadrons.
Yeah.
Once you have been talking about it supporting current gameplay, but themselves would be some tools to be able to do that by allowing players to organise. We'd also need specific tools for that. Now, I don't know if that will form a later part of the feedback. Tools such as on the feed, they're talking about a feed for the squadron page. Should be, obviously you can put down there in text form, I assume. Excuse me. In text form, I assume, what sort of tasks you want to set the squadron for the day. So maybe you want to set people to do certain BGS work. Would be allowing people to sign up for that particular.
Yeah, in my dreams, I've always hoped that the sort of squadron side of things would almost allow us to set mini CGs within the group, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the point is not just having squadrons there as a means to organise, but Frontier really do need to provide the tools that people are going to need. And I'm hoping that will form a part of the feedback at some point.
But I mean, sorry to jump in, but I mean, let's remember the group that we're talking about, though, right? A lot of the features that we're talking about is pie in the sky type stuff, and if they were rolled out the way that we're discussing them, would represent the single biggest improvement to gameplay probably since the game's inception, right? I just don't.
Absolutely.
I know we're trying to be positive, but I just don't think that they can pull it off, to be honest. I just don't. After Horizons was supposed to be a 1-year expansion that took 2 years, and they're taking another year to improve it. So looking at the things that they've rolled out in the past year, Engineers was a mess, only just improving because they're taking time off to improve it. Crime and Punishment was jacked up the whole time, is only just starting to get better, but it's still essentially just as broken as it was a year ago. Multi-Crew, broken and abandoned. CQC, broken and abandoned. Hollow Me, a dead on arrival update. I just don't see the level of change that we're all hoping to see. I just don't see it rolling out. I just don't have the confidence that they can pull it off. Now, I would absolutely love to have to eat those words when someone clips this and makes a soundboard and plays it back to me in 6 months when this rolls out and it's awesome. But I just don't have the faith anymore, because we've all been burned so many times on this, and I just don't see them pulling it off.
So I would say that is definitely part of our responsibility. And I say that as a collective.
Explain.
Right. We in this room, like, let's be honest, earlier I had this group referred to as the Elite Dangerous All-Stars.
They are missing quite a bit of people, mate.
No, agreed. It's not everyone, but that comment isn't inaccurate. What you're in this room, we have the leadership of 2 of the largest and most active player groups in Elite Dangerous. We have the 2 largest YouTubers. We have several of the largest Elite Dangerous Twitch streamers. Our voices between us carry an awful long way. If we all come out of this with a similar message, we all come out of this, and I don't want this to die with tonight's conversation. I'd like this DM conversation to carry on, and us to use this as an opportunity to really present a united front to Frontier. And in fact, my hope is that we can actually, look, I know there are people from FDev listening to this, whether live or on repeat. I would hope that we can organise to get this group of people, perhaps with some extra content creators as well, into a one-on-one conversation with the people at Frontier to talk about this, not on air, you know, quietly. Because we represent, between us, a huge amount of the player base. We really, really do. And what Ryan said then is not wrong. If they introduce some of the ideas that we're spitballing here, you know, imagine if they did introduce that idea where a player group can set an internal mini CG to back up their background sim stuff. Yeah?
Yeah, I would agree.
That, as I said, that would literally be one of the greatest improvements to Elite Dangerous since the inception of the game. Now, we know, let's be honest, and Ryan and I can particularly speak of this, that with the right messaging and contacting them in the right way, Frontier do listen. We did that with the engineers up there. We worked so closely with them with that.
I would qualify that. Let me qualify that though. Yeah. That was merely value changes, right?
Yes. Agreed.
It's very different, very, very, very different scenario.
Agreed, but that was also a lot later in the process than we are right now.
Fair point.
We have a unique opportunity now. And I'm sorry to, and I know both Obsidian and Yamiks are waiting to talk, and we're going to come to them in 1 second, but I'm little soapbox moment. Between us and our audiences, we have an opportunity to do something special here with Frontier. We can make them listen. Let's make sure we do it. So Obsidian, you're waiting. Please go ahead, sir.
It kind of goes back to what both you and Ryan and I think Yamiks have been saying about the feedback. And I think a lot of people are feeling it. Failure of a lot of the recent updates, but they, if we're being perfectly honest, they haven't all been what they could have been. Go as far as saying I do think Frontier probably on some level do agree with that, and that's reflected in the fact that they're asking so early on for feedback this time.
I agree.
Previous feedbacks, it's usually been maybe 1 or 2 months before the feature was released, so obviously at that point they're well developed. And with the engineers you was talking about, it's just value changes are the only thing we could contribute towards at that point.
Yeah. We couldn't, for instance, influence crime and punishment. It was too late.
Way too late.
Yeah, we
but
fixed.
At this point, it could be a very different story.
Yeah.
The question is that onto the fact that Frontier realise some of the errors they've made in the past and they want to get it right this time?
Okay, so at this point, before we go to Yamiks, and I know Yamiks and now Filter are waiting. Okay, so some of this is a very difficult discussion for me. I know some of the things that are coming, I know some of the things they're working on, and that makes it a bit more difficult to disagree with some of the things that are being said, but I do disagree with some of the things that have been said this evening on that front. I firmly believe that by the end of this year, we're going to be looking at a very different game.
I agree with you on that. Yep, I agree with you on that.
And I think it will have changed massively for the better. But I do believe, I really do, this is a unique moment in the game's history. So, Yamiks, you're next. What would you like to say, sir?
Oh boy. Well, whether or not the game will change or not, well, that's, well, pretty much left to be seen, as I tend to take a wait-and-see approach, and a rather, well, than the cynical approach on most other things that they push out these days anyway, so yeah, I'm not holding my breath for any of it. Well, but that's not what I wanted to say. Now, you mentioned that, oh, we're spitballing things today, and would be nice to have all that implemented. Well, yeah, that wouldn't it always be nice that these great ideas that people come up with in both in forums right now or well, in the future, wherever else that might be. Yeah, that'd be nice, but you have to also, you know, remember that coding is a big part of what is being done and what can be done the whole time of creating something. And oftentimes, you know, things do not get implemented, obviously, because either it would take too much time, it's not completely doable, you know, right now, like Star Citizen, but that's beside the point. You know, you have, again, I just take a look at the game, and if I ever suggest something, usually it's something as very simple, something that can be done, at least from my perspective, with my experience in some fields and my I hate to use the word expertise, but my experience and knowledge, what I could potentially make in, let's just say, a month. You know, that's why I, you know, from time to time I do mention things like quality of life improvements and just small little bits and pieces that could potentially be put in place. That's why I tend to say that I hate theory crafting, because again, it first of all breeds the whole hype, your expectations on what could be happening in the game or what could happen. And then, of course, once the thing comes out, even though it might perhaps be, well, normal, properly working, it's not exceptional as you would have imagined in your theory crafting days before, you know, it came out. And now you potentially are angry and you go onto forums and complain, and oh, there's that. Yeah, today's been quite a pessimistic day, I suppose, and yeah, Ryan's whole speech was wonderfully pessimistic and down on things. I loved it, dude, but yeah, here's the same thing from me, right? Don't get hyped. That's my thing, I tend to say. Just kill the hype and then just be happy about the things that they release. And that's why I was extremely happy about the whole 20 light year route planning. To a lot of people, it doesn't matter. To me, it was just fantastic because it exceeded my expectations, even my wildest. And if they can just build a simple, working, properly done thing, and not an abortion like multi-crew, into, you know, squadrons, make it just okay, I'll be happy. That's all I ask.
And Filter, we're going to be coming to very shortly, but Jacob.
Oh yeah, go.
No, wait.
That's it. That's Yamiks tirade over.
Okay, so Jacob Godserv has said, I'd like to toss out there that although we do a lot of suggesting, and then in brackets he's put, let's be honest, borderline complaining, can we agree that Frontier has done a fantastic job so far? I think it's strong evidence that we're all still playing. Now, whilst there won't be a unanimous yes, we can agree that Frontier have done a fantastic job. What I think we can
I would stretch on the term good.
Hang on. What we can all agree on in this room, I believe, is this is the best space simulator on the market available to play right now. And for that,
there's only one though, so
yeah,
no, there
exactly
isn't.
Right.
No, there isn't. No Man's Sky, technically in the same genre. Yes, it is. It's in the same genre.
It is technically.
The X series is in the same genre. There was oh god, what was the game that
all of them are old?
No, there's the game that recently where they paid they claimed they paid a streamer $5,000 an hour to play a game, and then the
Everspace.
Everspace, that was it.
Oh right.
Yeah, there are other games out there in this genre. To say Elite is alone in the genre is not true. But it is the greatest one in the genre at the moment. Now, Frontier have to work damn hard to maintain that position, particularly with, I suspect, Bethesda circling this genre right now.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of a scary thing for them.
Yes and no. Let's be honest, in recent history, when you look at Frontier versus major game developers, Frontier win. That's the truth. When a major game developer has released against Frontier Developments has outsold. That's the simple bottom line on that. That's why they've got the Jurassic World game. Now, funny you bring that up, Yamiks. I'm going to circle around to that comment in a minute. But first of all, Filter, you had something to say, so please.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier about how, we need to make sure that we're vocal about this too, but this is one thing that I feel, sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into an empty room when I'm trying to put, suggestions and positive feedback and stuff to Frontier on things, because sometimes it just feels like there's nobody there listening. And every now and then it does get through. But there are times when we're trying to get through engineering, I mean, it took, crazy operations by SDC in order to get a lot of these, engineering issues addressed, like the initial healing tank stuff, the heat problem. It took kind of drastic action for them to take action, and I'm really hoping that they listen this time.
If I can jump in, I would argue that their reaction to the most recent engineering changes does show that they learned from that.
Right.
They are becoming better at listening, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing there.
No.
I'm just really hoping that this isn't a implement poorly, then listen, then make fixes later type of situation, which is usually the way it goes.
Again, I think that's why we've been brought in so damned early. I really do, because this is a thing that is very unformed.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. That I think is a very accurate statement. I think they brought us in to get the feedback for all the different parts of it.
Yeah. Now, Yamiks has brought up one of the dirtiest words in the Elite Dangerous community. Eve. Now,
bullshit.
He's not wrong though. He's not wrong.
First of all, Eve has proven itself with its own staying power and all that stuff.
I never said anything bad about Eve, Yamiks.
The most dirty thing is Star Citizen, mate.
No, I said one of. Yes. Again.
Come on.
I didn't say the dirtiest word. I said one of.
Okay.
Because whenever Eve comes up as a reference point for Elite Dangerous, particularly talking very much from what I have witnessed, not only in my stream but others, if Eve comes up, you get a whole raft of people going, but I don't want Elite to be Eve. And they're missing the point. Elite isn't ever going to be Eve. The main difference is that Elite doesn't have a player-run economy, and I don't think Frontier will ever introduce one, for better or worse. Now, I understand, let's be honest, a lot of the things that are great about Eve are because it has a player-run economy. But it introduces a whole suite of problems that are fairly unique to Eve as well. I hate, though, that so many people, whenever Eve comes up, immediately goes, but I don't want Elite to be Eve. That doesn't mean that the two games can't learn from each other. And also, if anyone here believes that Eve can't learn things from Elite, they're wrong. There are things pretty much any game can learn from Elite. Elite does some things incredibly well. But something people... I'm very optimistic about Elite. I'm very positive about Frontier. I always have been, I always will be, I think. But... if you believe that it's perfect, you're wrong. You are clearly wrong. And if you think that Eve can't learn from Elite and Elite can't learn from Eve, you're wrong as well. To be honest with you, any MMO on the planet that's well done can teach Elite Dangerous stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ditopia just brought up Star Trek Online. Another example of a game that actually Elite could learn a lot from, particularly in instancing. Star Trek Online has one of the most simple and clever instancing systems I've ever seen. Instances are numbered. If you're in a certain instance and you want your friends to join you, you just tell them your instance number. If it's full, you all jump to a separate empty instance. that you can see is empty before you jump into it. It's a really simple system. By being able to choose your instance, it makes it so much simpler.
That kind of that would almost entirely break PvP gameplay, though.
Ambient PvP, I would agree. Organized PvP, it would be a boonful, because it would be so much easier to organize like a 32-player fight, because you could just all be like, you could get 32 players and just be like, go into instance 16.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a, which do you, and also I suspect, like in, and I know STO uses servers for the people that have said that both in chat and in whispers. I know STO uses servers, I know it's not directly comparable. Doesn't mean that it's not a fucking good idea, and it's something I'd like to see in Elite, even if it's not possible.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very much against that, because a lot of PvP, so a lot of what the PvP community calls organic PvP,
yeah,
which is
would die because
if anyone was just watching my stream, I just finished an organic PvP fight in Aerovate where a wing showed up, pulled, we all dropped in, and we did I think it was a 5v4. That would be almost impossible to do unless both sides were already willing. And a lot of the best fights that we have in Elite are fights that just kind of occur, right? Where you just happen to be in the same instance as each other, you pull somebody, and now you start brawling. And I'm thinking of potentially power play PvP if power play ever gets reworked, right? Where if you're a power player undermining in a system, you don't want to be in an instance with anybody else. And if you have the choice, you never will be in an instance with anybody else, right? So
yeah,
how do
although
you
there
stop
are simple ways, well, there would be simple ways you could get around that, like having power play only instances. And if you're in power play, then okay, you lose the option. While you're doing power play things, you lose that option and you're forced it. It does that with raids and stuff in Star Trek Online. It would require different layers of things, you know. It would be possible, but it would require a shift to servers, which we're not going to do. It's just not going to happen. That would require them to restructure the entire background of Elite Dangerous, and that's too much work.
That's not happening.
No. But something. So let's move on to something that is definitely a bit more positive. I have a feeling that we're gonna see the regularity and quality of updates increasing with how to put this. Basically, Frontier have just moved into new offices that give them room to massively expand their team, and they're about to get a shit ton of money from Jurassic World Evolution. I suspect that that's only going to lead to good things for their love child, which is Elite Dangerous.
See, I see it as being the exact opposite. I see if they're hiring people, they're going to be hiring people. So FDev is a company, right? Companies exist to make money for themselves and their shareholders, right? I don't see them putting more programmers on a game that's already released that has a loyal fan base compared to a huge new IP that they've acquired and are getting ready to launch with one of the most well-known franchises on the planet in entertainment. Any new programmers they hire are going straight to that, and I would say
done. Jurassic World's done.
The DLC coming for it is not done. And
yeah, but that doesn't require the framework. That's not the sort of numbers that you need to produce the game. The game is produced. Yeah,
I just don't.
Numbers,
I just
like
don't
Planet
see
Coaster.
them. I just don't see them really pouring more. I don't see them pouring more development resources. I would see them as replacing lost resources and maintaining current levels.
But they are. They're increasing the size of their team. You can see that clearly, even if you don't have friends inside the company. You can see that clearly just by looking at their hiring pages. They clearly are increasing the size of the Elite Dangerous team.
I mean, so hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right. And hopefully the updates will be more than once a quarter, and once a quarter to fix things that they broke along the way. Because that's what we have had to date.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question. to jump on what you've just said there, sorry.
Yeah.
You said about once a quarter. Would we prefer, and this is aimed at all of you, would we prefer a once a quarter update that's quite large, or would we prefer one, say, once a month that's much smaller?
I would prefer both, where you have once a month patches for bug fixes and little tiny tweaks, and then you save the once a quarter updates for actual big content delivery. The problem is that we have not gotten big content. Someone point me to the new content that we've received aside from Thargoids, which has been an incredibly slow moving process that's been going on for 8 months now.
Even I will agree that the Thargoid thing has been too slow.
Yeah, but I mean, so what new
me
content
will say that.
what new content have we gotten within the last, since Horizons dropped? What new content? What new gameplay loops have we gotten? Engineers.
Passenger missions, ship launch fighters.
But so
lore
passenger
beacons.
missions is not that's not new content. That is a reskin trading mechanic.
It is DJ. It is.
That's a reskin trading mechanic. It's
an
cargo that
expansion.
complains. Cargo that
I was
complains.
about to say, I'd say it's
But
an
that's-
expansion
that's-
of the trade mechanic.
That is new content, though.
Yeah.
It offers a mission that you do, regardless if it's a reskin or not. That's new content.
The lore beacons, they are new content. The Ramtar missions, they're new content.
But Ramtar missions are. But so what I mean by new
they're
content
terrible,
is,
but
yeah.
they're terrible, but they are new content. I'm not like don't even get me started on the Ramtar thing because Yamiks and I will end up shouting at each other. Because he thinks that it's the way that we should go, and that's nonsense. But anyway, mega ships have been introduced, and now there are so many more ways to interact with them. We've seen things like voice acting for the first time. We've seen ship launch fighters. We've seen multi-crew. I wouldn't personally disagree with you entirely about the avatar system being dead on arrival. It's one of my favorite things about Elite because I know what my commander looks like, and that bothers me because I'm a nerd.
Well, hold on. I gotta stop you. I have to get a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
So, out of the people that are in this channel that are not named DJTruthsayer, be honest. Okay, be honest. How long have each of you? Let me go one by one. I'm asking the questions now.
Let's
go. Okay. I will answer my own question first. How long have you spent on your Hollow Me, and what additional gameplay has it provided for you? I will answer first. I spent 5 minutes to get the most grotesque possible Hollow Me, and I have not touched it since literally I think it was day 3 because I was on a business trip when it dropped. The third day that it was out, I got home, I made the ugliest character possible, and I've not touched it since. Yamiks, how long have you spent?
Perfect. So let me tell you. Aside from filming or requiring footage for my videos, I spent 0 seconds on it because I find the whole Hollow Me to be, again, just another way of devs trying to just milk microtransactions out. Sure, that might be addition for later on for space legs or something, but I find the whole current state of it to be just useless completely unless you really are a DJ. If you're a really DJ, basically trying to, make yourself into something you're not, or maybe make yourself a proper human being, but whatever the case is, I find the whole Hollow Me thing just another microtransaction sinkhole, and I find microtransactions to be rather be that a necessary evil. I'm not certain fully, but still, I don't like it, and
It's
that's
interesting.
simple.
Just to quickly before we carry on with everyone in here, we've had people in chat everywhere from 5 minutes to 21 hours.
You've spent 21 hours?
No, that's not me.
Oh.
Someone in the chat,
no,
because
actually,
there are random folks
interestingly-
on the internet because they do that. You realize that, right?
Interestingly-
Random people on the internet do have different times on the Hollow Me, right?
I've spent very little time in the Hollow Me because in the Hollow Me creator, I should say, because once my character was created, he is a living entity in my head now, essentially. Like, you know, he is role-played as a separate character to myself. When I'm playing Elite
Same.
Dangerous, it's not me, it's my commander. And he is a very different individual to me. And for me, that's really important. It really crystallized who he is, what he looks like, why he acts the way he does. All of that is aided by being able to have that Hollow Me in my case. Now, this very much is an example of a system where, for some people, it matters not a jot. But for other people, it's actually really important. And both of those opinions are completely valid. Like, I'm not going to claim that, you know, I'm right and you're wrong here.
I'll claim it.
Yeah.
I am right and you are wrong. I don't mind living in
The
a
great
black
and
and white
powerful
world.
one is never wrong. See?
But
I
I
am
mean,
never wrong.
my general point though is that's while it does classify as a content push, that's not the content that I think people are talking about when we're talking about we want more content. We're talking about we want new ways to interact with the universe. We want new things to do. We want other things to drive gameplay. We want different gameplay loops, right? I don't want to put a fucking buzz cut on a random avatar, right? I want new ways to interact with things, and I want new things to do and new things to explore and do stuff like that. And that's what I mean by that. Like, if FDev was smart about this, they would have people that are actually working on new content rather than new half-developed features like multi-crew, like Hollow Me, to throw at us to appease us and like fucking rework power play, right? They've already said that they want to rework power play. Well, do it. Do the focus feedback for power play. Hopefully that dovetails nicely into the squadron stuff, right? Hopefully squadrons will provide some more functionality for power play stuff, but I just don't. Knowing the history of the game, I mean, I've been playing since 1.0, right? Not as long as most of you guys have, but I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on the game and how everything really generally works. I just don't have the confidence that I had before. I will say that this Beyond series has done a whole lot for the overall health of the game, but I'm just not convinced that either they have I'm gonna say that, so in a previous life I was an operations manager in a call center, right? And when you're coaching somebody, there's a thing called will versus skill, right? Is somebody capable of doing the work that I'm asking them to do? If they're not capable, can I train them to be capable, right? Or are they just incapable of doing it? Or can they not do it and they don't want to learn how to do it, right? Will versus skill. I'm not sure whether Elite's current set of problems are will versus skill, but the problems exist, and I am not confident that they can fix them in the short term. I am cautiously optimistic when I say that I very much hope that they do, because I absolutely love the game when it works the way that I want it to. But I will say that the path that I've seen it going down over the last 2 years leads me to be very concerned for its future.
So
I hope that was
we've got three
diplomatic
people.
enough.
Oh no, that was no, dude.
Well,
we've got
I
three
just
people
don't
waiting to say
want to
something.
be, I just don't want to have it be just us shitting on FDev, because we all are here because we enjoy the game, obviously.
Right.
But all I'll say is that if anyone's watching my stream, I am currently not playing Elite. I am playing PUBG right now because I got bored.
So,
Okay.
Obsidian Ant, you're waiting to say something, so we'll start with you.
Yeah, I can keep it short on it really, but the whole idea of content's a funny thing really. Everyone sees it very differently, and I once saw someone trying to claim that setting up key bindings is gameplay, because in the game.
Oh wow.
Say what?
Oh dear.
No, that
Do me a
must
favor.
be a troll.
If you
Come
hear
on.
someone say that seriously, please let me help you. Give me their commander name. Give me their commander name, please. Please.
It's the thing, though, isn't it? Just because there's it's not so much whether in the game it really comes down to what you can do with it.
Yeah.
If there's something that it only has how you can interact with it, in whether or not people are going to call that content. An object in itself in the game is not necessarily content.
Agreed. It's yeah, very much what you say. It's what you can do. Filter.
I actually totally forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, I think I already talked about that one, so...
Okay, cool. I actually
next topic?
I actually have something I want to cover. And this is segueing massively from our original topic of squad wars. But here's my biggest concern with Elite Dangerous right now. My biggest concern with Elite Dangerous right now is that we are. This game is so much at a crossroads. The competition is starting to circle. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I know how important this game is to Frontier. This game is more than a product to Frontier Developments, and whatever anyone might want to tell you about that, that is true. This is more than a product, really. This is the game David Braben has always wanted to be. And they're like a lovable puppy at times. It's full of endeavor and full of all of the right intentions, but they need to slow down at times, perhaps, and perhaps take more time over things, and I don't know, it's like you were saying, the intention is there. Can they pull off what they want to? And I believe they can. I really do. But I think that I think they need to get on with. Like, I really do believe they need to get on with doing whatever they're going to do with the bubble. One way or the other, the Thargoids are going to have a major impact. And immediately, I have a sigh from Lavang fan, because he knows that I want to burn the bubble, and he doesn't want it to happen. But whatever they're gonna do with the Thargoids, they need to do. This is me saying that, not these others. The others saying that, it might be a bit more expected. Myself, let's be honest, it's not my normal line. Cruiser has just said, right now I don't consider you a significant participant in Elite Dangerous gameplay. What would Elite Dangerous need to change that? Reaction to story.
Need that story to be told to us in an easy way in the first place.
That.
Let's just go with that.
No, fuck that, right? Elite Dangerous used to be like playing in a massive game of Dungeons and Dragons. And when you
What?
did things, at a large enough scale, things happened in return. And that doesn't happen anymore. And if anyone wants proof of that, I invite you to look back to Operation Serious Business, which, as far as I'm aware, was one of the largest ever group efforts in this game. Elite Dangerous used to be like playing in... There was, 36 groups taking part? All attacking the Sirius Corporation at the same time. We pushed them back to 2 systems. We decimated, quite literally decimated the Sirius Corporation, the largest corporation in the galaxy. What reaction was there to it?
Just like with power play, nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah, the only reason we stopped is because we wanted to make sure people could still get permits, because that was before the new system for permits came in that guarantees that if that happened, you could still get a permit. Nothing happened. And in all honesty, to answer your question, Cruiser, what would really bring me back into this game in a far more active way than simply leading the sovereignty, yeah. Give me that back. Make it so that when we do things like that, the story reacts.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go, please.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, I think right now one of the major issues that they have is they depend so much on manual intervention in the game for progression in the storyline. There's no automation. It's okay, well, we have figured something out in the game. Now we have to wait for FDev to, move it forward and actually implement it. And I think that's, to me, where the main issue lies. If they can get some automation going, I think that they're going to have a much easier time doing this. I mean, that goes for everything. I mean, from CGs to the actual storyline. I think that automation is their key to bringing about a better Elite.
I think though that the reason that we're kind of stuck in this limbo is because FDev's tried to have it both ways, right? They want curated content, they want to push a specific story, but then they want users to drive their own story as well, right? So they're trying to play both sides of it, and neither side is happy, right? The people that want to quote unquote blaze their own trail aren't given enough tools to actually blaze their own trail and have an impact on the universe itself. And then the players that want that curated FDev driven story aren't given it because FDev has taken 8 months for Thargoids and nothing of consequence has happened, right? I mean, what story stuff has happened in the game? I mean, someone tell me, because I don't follow power play, and from my understanding, most people don't.
Power play is a fucking bad joke. Don't even bother.
Yeah,
with
no,
it.
but what I mean by that though,
in story in the game in the last year is the Thargoids rocked up. They burned a bunch of stations.
What I mean by that is
cried that the stations were too hard to fix, so they made them easier to fix.
Yeah, but so that's what I mean. Like they need to for lack of a better word, get their shit together and figure out what kind of game they want it to be. Do they want it to be a story-driven game, story-driven by FDev, or do they want the community to drive the story? And if they want the community to drive the story, that's awesome because so many people will take part in that and so many people will love every aspect of that. But you have to take the good with the bad, and they need to be prepared for that, right? And I just don't think that they're prepared for it.
And Yamiks, we will come to you in 1 second, I promise. The interesting thing with that, though, Ryan, is they used to have that balance. There used to be an overarching plot that was going on, and at the same time, that plot could be derailed by the players. And again and again, and I hate bringing this up because it is my single largest mistake. Emperor's Dawn. Emperor's Dawn was a huge storyline that was supposed to take place over months. And we killed it dead as a player base because no one supported them. That's the kind of stuff we want. We want the ability to go, no, actually, they're a bunch of scumbags. Now, I mean, looking back at it, actually, they were basically the proto-sovereignty, and we totally should have supported them. But that's by the by. It proves that back then, the story was much more reactive. There was much more going on. Now, I don't think that there's a way we could do that. And part of me wonders if it's because of that, because of the amount of effort that went into crafting the story for the Emperor's Dawn that then never got used.
Well, and it's funny because I don't even remember that. I think that's crazy because I don't remember that at all. And I've been.
Do you remember the assassination of Hengist Dubat?
No.
I do.
Okay, so when the Emperor was assassinated, that was Emperor's Dawn.
Gotcha.
And that was supposed to kick off a far larger storyline. Also, again, players influenced who the Emperor was. The Emperor was going to be Denton Patriot. Players weren't having none of it. Orisa got the throne.
But then, what else? But what has that impacted in Elite, though?
At first, it started to impact quite a lot. Now, nothing.
Yeah.
Now, it may as well. But, again, the game used to feel much more like a session of Dungeons & Dragons, almost. And it doesn't anymore. That reactive side of it seems to have gone. So, Yamiks, you're waiting, and then Malik, please go.
Right. Well, okay. So returning to Filtor's, I think it was Filtor who said that the whole automation, story automation. Fuck no. This game already has shit gazillion things already automated. Everything's either procedurally generated or automated and whatnot else in some way. Look at the missions. I mean, holy fucking Christ. Anyways, yeah, no, we need more handcrafted experiences in this game, and that is the part where story has to come in. Story is the thing that you handcraft and, random missions and things like those, I suppose, those that are not that important. Yes, you leave as a automated piece of crap, or what else. The people can play or do in the meantime, all between the story or handcrafted experiences. Now, I'm not against all the procedural generation or RNGs and so on and so forth, because, again, that's a tool in a toolbox. The question is how it is used and how much will it be it is used, and so on and so forth. So when it comes down to Elite Dangerous, yes, the automation is heavily put on it, and that's a big issue. I at least see it myself that way. But regardless, now when it comes down to the story, we need at least some sort of fuck it. Me and DJ, we talked about this already, but the bottom line was basically we need some sort of a lore explanation to basically people who don't want to go and read bazillion books or other things on the wikis. That's the main thing that has to be done. So on and so forth. But yeah, automating story, if you mean like system things, then technically, isn't it already being done? It's just simply not recorded. But
well,
I don't know.
Not really like the story itself being automated, but more triggers happening. So like if players are able to get something done, then the story continues without FDev's manual intervention. That way,
yeah,
the story
I can give a
pretty bad idea. Pretty bad idea.
I can give a perfect example of this for anyone that's wondering. A perfect example of this, Malik. How long ago? And Malik is next up anyway, so that's perfect. Also, Lala has to go. Lala, thank you so much for joining us. You're actually gone, but thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
She didn't say much, but, well, she was there. Thank you.
And Malik, how long ago was it we worked out where the unknown probe was pointing?
Has it been
over
like
a year,
two?
Right?
Yeah, it's a year and a half, 2 years now.
Right. Yet the next stage of that puzzle is still unavailable.
Is a cock blocked by Frontier? There you go.
That's what we're talking about. If you're going to put
I
in a
see.
puzzle like the Unknown Probe, don't leave it half-baked. Now, yeah, Malik, you're trying to say
I'm
something.
surprised you guys actually are negative on it, because I find it really, really, really stupid way of doing things. So, great to see that at least you see the light.
Yamiks, don't get
Yes.
me wrong. Yeah, you'll struggle to find people that are more positive about Elite Dangerous and Frontier developments than Malik and I. That doesn't mean we believe this game is perfect. That doesn't mean that we believe the Frontier are infallible. They're not.
No, I get that completely.
The game isn't, and they're not. And I actually had a discussion with Zach about this, where he said one of the things he values about us as a group is that we give honest feedback. And that was talking about this group that are in this call. Yeah? We give honest feedback. We aren't white knights. When
Apparently,
good,
I am, because forums,
Yeah,
at least somebody in forums said that, because I don't know.
But because we aren't white knights and we give honest feedback, when it's good, we'll say it's good. You know, the things that we love, we'll sing about all day long. You know, ask me to talk about the backstory of Elite Dangerous, and I can sit here for hours and hours and hours.
Please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't.
No, I'm not going to. But
I'm just kidding.
You get my point, though, yeah? We all have things about this game that we adore, but we're not going to pretend that it's perfect, and it's not. But Malik, you were going to say something. Please do.
Like, the thing that's kind of disappointing me right now is that currently the big decoding thing that I've been doing for the past, like, 10 weeks now.
Yep.
You have the Eagle Eye stations out in the Pleiades, right? It used to be that the key word was Thargoids, and then you would decode the message from that. About 6 weeks ago, it changed to invaders. And the thing is that it's pretty much the same message, just they replace the little tiny section of what system you need to go check in. And it's the same thing every week. I mean, even like little things, alternate it between invaders and Thargoids, or make a new thing up. I don't know. Just it's getting a little bit stale, and it's just like, okay, they point at this system this week, and then it's like, okay, and we don't have anything, any kind of guidance on whether or not, if we go into that system, if we're attacking the Thargoids that are in the non-human signal sources, is that actually stopping the attack in that system for the following week? We don't get any kind of feedback on anything. So it's like we're at this point, it's just guessing. In real life, when you do a thing, you get a result, and then you can base off of it. But we get absolutely nothing, and that's where things get like really frustrating, because you're like, okay, I have no idea if what I'm doing is actually on the right track. Am I off the right track? We just don't get any feedback whatsoever, and that's what it just gets a little bit frustrating after time. Because again, this has been a thing that we've been doing for the past 10 weeks, and we have no. Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? We have no idea.
And
Not even a Galnet article.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Malik, was the Galnet audio or the Galnet articles. Like we've defended so many systems of going and defeating Thargoid scouts and stuff, but we don't know exactly is that the purpose, like what you just said. But there's no article saying, hey, the thing showed these two systems and commander successfully defended these. It's not telling us what we're doing. So it's like, it's a little frustrating. I see that, but I feel like story-wise in the article just alone is almost like 2 to 3 weeks behind. You know what I mean? Like we'll find something, do something, and it'll be like, okay, well they'll tell us, and like you're reading it and you're like, oh, I already know about that because I was part of that like 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's all I wanted to say.
And Yamiks, we'll circle back round to you.
Right, yeah. Go.
No, I was just saying we'll circle back round to you.
Okay. Well, yeah, basically the last thing that I wanted to say, Yeah, basically, Malik already talked about this whole stuff about devs changing a couple of things about story and so on and so forth. But this was the same thing with also the Ancient Ruins. Just push out something immediately and then change it later on. That's kind of a bad way of doing things. But I kind of understand from some perspectives as to why it's done. But even then, just no, that better not. But the bottom line is, this is a multiplayer game, and developers are trying to make an ongoing story that is unfolding in the real time, give or take. Since this is also a multiplayer game, and in typical multiplayer game fashion, if you are doing a basically ever evolving story sort of a thing, you must make sure that at least the more occasional player has the chance to play it. And that's why the Targoid thing took so fucking long to do, and even still takes so fucking long to do, because every week there's, if there's something new coming out, then, you have to make sure that players that are playing, be that on vacation or away from the computer for a while, has the chance to still try it. And that's why it takes so fucking long to, story for all that to develop. Because, well, yeah, what's the point if just one guy just goes and scans and gets the date or whatnot else and posts it on internet, and then when someone else comes back, they have this sudden shift in their perception of the story, because it has changed since then, and he didn't get the chance to catch up. What's going on? The player, or rather the most players in the game, will just question, what, just because that one guy decoded it immediately and got to the last point, now the story completely is erased and we move on? But I was in the middle of something. I wanted to do it, but I didn't have time. And let's be honest, a lot of the players in Elite Dangerous are, let's just go with term, older generation than an average FPS player, right? So that is the thing. We don't have a lot of time to do the things that perhaps people on a break, from school, college, whatnot else would have. And also, this is a point or rather against the grind, but that's another topic for another time. Anyways, that's at least my thing. Remember that this is an online game, that, the story is going slow because it is a multiplayer game, and it has to allow people to take at least try it and give it a chance or whatnot. Anyways, moving on. Any other topics?
So, well, I want to start wrapping us up, because it's already, like, we've already been doing this for nearly 2 hours.
It's been an hour and 15 minutes or so.
Is it an hour and 15?
For me, it shows hour and 15, so yeah.
No.
I have an hour 50 on my stream.
I was about to say, I'm on 2 hours, 16 minutes, so yeah.
Yeah, coming up for 2 hours.
Yeah. We're 13 minutes off of 2 hours, so I'm going to start bringing things to a close. First thing I want to say is thank you to everyone for taking part. Secondly, let's keep this, at least this DM group, open. I'd like to do this sort of stream again. I think that getting a group like this together is incredibly valuable, both to ourselves and to Frontier. I think in future, because we have gotten very off topic tonight. It's been great, but we have gotten very off topic tonight. In future,
because there's not much to talk about in squadrons in general.
True, but in future we'll perhaps approach this with more of a structured the sort of agenda beforehand. But I started this by asking everybody the straight question of what's the thing they're most worried about squadrons. I'm going to finish this with the exact opposite question. So, Yamiks, I'll start with you. What's the thing you're most excited about squadrons?
Nothing.
That's not an applicable answer.
Go fuck yourself, DJ.
No.
I said go fuck yourself. I'm not excited about any fucking thing. As I said, kill the hype.
Okay,
the only thing that I am...
Excited is the wrong word then. What do you think is the best feature that they have suggested so far? Jesus,
just a simple...
Mr. Pedantic here.
Well, yes, I am. Be precise. Ja, das ist...
Anyway.
Yes. All right. So, well, I get your point. Well, the thing that I at least like is the fact that okay, finally after what 4 fucking years we get a guild system for a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Ryan?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention at all to what we were talking about. I was in a firefight in PUBG. What's the question?
Oh, wow.
I was just popping
I have
helmets.
no words.
Quality streamer.
Actually, although on that note, I played PUBG for the first time ever at Gamers Forgiving, and the first thing that I ever did in PUBG was take part in a official PUBG sponsored tournament.
Oh shit. Well, look, next time you do that, you let me know, and we can get me and Pollution there, and we'll fuck on those dudes. Cause I had in this match that I just did, I had 4 kills. All 4 were single tap headshots with a Car 98. I had one guy in a dead sprint.
Can we get back to the point, please?
Back to the subject.
Yeah. So what was the question? Sorry.
What's
the thing that you like about it?
Yeah. What's the thing
What
that you like?
What are you looking
most
forward
about
to?
Squadrons? Yeah.
With the update or Elite in general?
With Squadrons.
With Squadrons, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is actual in-game guild shit that should have been in the game forever. A way to pool resources to do things as a group rather than individual commanders pulling in the same direction independently. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for some seriously good gameplay, but they got to do it right, and they have to take the time to do it right. I don't think anybody would be opposed to FDev taking additional time to make sure that they get it right rather than to rush it out because they need to hit a schedule. I think if you rush it out, it's going to be fucked up forever, and you only get a first impression once.
Agreed. Malik?
Mainly just looking forward to group tools, but again, it's one of those things that it is definitely that first impression thing. Yeah, I mean, it can be great, but it just needs to be done right.
Mr. Ant, sir. Oh, is that?
Is dead, Jim?
He's dead. We'll circle back around.
I'm here. Had the mic on mute.
So yeah, what are you
myself.
most looking forward to with Squadrons?
Say something similar to Yamiks.
Yeah. Just finally
Yeah,
have
DJ can go fuck himself.
Actually, no, honestly, seriously, at this point, it's very hard to find anything to be excited for, precisely because there's not a whole lot of details out there.
Yeah.
Say I'm looking forward to the ability for people to play together. One, because together on Discord, but it will be great to have that in the game. I will say that.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, it's not the fact that we're going to just have squadrons. It's what are we going to be able to do with them. And at the moment,
we don't know.
No, not to be negative about it, but
yeah.
Before I can really say one way or the other.
So Filter?
I've got a more positive spin. Even if there are some issues going forward, I'm just going to be stoked that we can finally be recognized in the game as a group. And to me, I think that's going to be, as far as features that are currently available to us, that we know of, that is what I'm most excited about. The fact that no matter what, PA is going to be able to actually be in the game.
Yeah. I can understand that entirely. Lavang?
Filter stole the words right out my mouth. Just being able to be recognized in the game, that'd be cool. Instead of just flying around and you don't have a insignia, or you have an insignia saying, "Hey, Ronin Inc." or something like that. Like that's my player group. But not being able to have that tag on your name would be awesome. I don't know. That's exciting to me. But that's about it. And the tools, like what Malik said, is pretty exciting.
Yeah. So, with that, everyone, we'll let you all disperse and go about your normal lives and everything. Thank you all, super amounts for coming and joining us. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, this is a good talk.
Yeah, this has been great fun. We should definitely do this sort of thing again. So, if anyone has any last words they want to say, and if not, I'll kill the call and I'll see you all soon.
Fuck the hype.
Lol.
What else am I supposed to say, honestly?
Hello?
You could be like, thank you everyone, it's been really fun. It's been nice talking to you all.
Oh, that goes
only if he
without
does the
saying,
accent
doesn't
too.
it?
No, Yamiks, it doesn't go without saying. It's actually
Well, now
polite.
it does.
It's the polite thing to do to say it, you see.
Bye, everyone.
See
you
all
later.
soon. It's been great.
Indeed.
Thank you everyone. I'll see you all in the near future.
Like,
Soon.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye, peace.
Bye-bye.
so, dudes. So the stream's over. Did you tell me you saw those headshots that I dropped on those dudes? Okay. I had 4 kills, and 4 of those were single shot headshots. Dropped them. No, that was it. That was all I was saying. Oh, it felt so good. Okay. Why? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just gotta fucking mess with my properties. My audio won't stream again. I'm still streaming, by the way. They can't. No one can hear you guys, but I can. So I mean, everyone was pretty. We tried to have it not be super negative, but it's kind of tough. Obsidian was shitting on them pretty hard, but which was actually kind of awkward. But I mean, devs got to get their shit together, or people are gonna. Some of the biggest names that play the game are gonna start bailing. So hopefully, it's shot across the bow for them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of pessimistic too, obviously, but I don't know. Vehicle? Bike coming? Now they pulled off. Go. Just drive straight to the bridge. Fuck, I've been streaming this whole time and I forgot to say, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you like this content. Forgot to say that. Good driving here. Let's just stop here and run in. Okay, I'm suppressed. I'm fully suppressed right now. I shot Chunk yesterday by accident. He got kind of mad about it. Yep. He stopped. He stopped. He did not go across the bridge. He's swimming. Nice. Yeah, he's gonna die. No, he's in the water. Die. Where are his friends at? $65. 65 in near the compound. Finish that guy. One from the other side. Fuck. Get out. Yep. Yeah. We gotta go soon, guys. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. He's healing up. 75 degrees from me, which would be probably 60 or 50 from you. There's another one. North. Oh, from 330. Healing. We gotta start making moves, guys. We got 30 seconds. I'm healing. Start swimming. These guys are really bad. Yeah. There's two guys, 115. I see him, they're running away. Okay, just come, I'm gonna get this car. And I'm gonna get you guys, okay? Oh, fuck, it's like right here. We can run. Fuck. I'm in cover if one of you guys can get to me. Okay. And it's a frag. I don't have any first aids, but I have some bandages. I need a vest off of one of them. Nice. Good shit. This guy's a level 1. Hey guys, I just dropped an AR suppressor here if someone wants it. How does my mic sound? I moved it a lot closer to my face. Okay. I mean, that's always true, but I appreciate it. Nice. I already have one. I just need health. So, dude. I mean, it went pretty well. Pretty much, Obsidian Ant he was pretty negative about it, which I thought was kind of funny. Because he's like the ultimate cheerleader. Or he's thought of as like a cheerleader, but he really was not this time around. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Well, I mean, fuck. Get their shit together and it won't hurt. We don't have to say that shit. Here, I'm gonna bring the audio in.
What's going on anyway?
Playing PUBG right now.
PUBG.
I stopped playing PUBG midstream, by the way. Or I stopped playing Elite midstream and started playing PUBG instead. So I got bored.
Oh. Did you settle?
Yeah. Well, at the end, DJ goes, he asks me like the final question. I was not paying attention. And they go, you know, does anybody have, you know, what are your closing thoughts? And he's like, Ryan, and I go, oh wait, what's the question? I'm like, sorry, I wasn't listening. I was playing PUBG instead. And he just, you could just hear him just go, and everyone just kind of started laughing. But, I mean, the game's boring.
Oh, there's an 8x here.
Yeah, I dropped a 6x as well. Does anybody have like a 4x that I can hold? I have a 3x on the I have a 3x on my car 98. I don't like the 6x on this map.
Do you want the 8x?
No. I need like a 4 would be perfect. A 3 is passable.
I contact
Okay.
west.
Yeah.
Close.
Who was that? What's he around, or Pip? Oh, I see him. 2 guys.
What? Where?
275.
Oh yeah, I see him. Hit him.
Got him. One next to you.
Got him. They're both dead. Sniper suppressor, thank you.
Have any first aid? Take it.
He does.
Ooh, excellent. Need the vertical foregrip. We're both running vectors.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just feeling real fucking good about using Car 98s now. Holy shit.
Oh, did this guy had a level 2 helmet?
He did, yeah. And this one over here did as well. This
I
guy has a sniper suppressor, by the way.
I have one as well on me.
Yeah.
Someone needs it, but I'm gonna drop it if no one needs it.
Oh fuck, I didn't check if he had a 4x.
Oh, he did.
I'm
I
dropping.
have an extra one.
You have an extra one? I'll take it. Just
Yeah,
let's
I
get in
took it
first.
from
Let's
that
get in.
guy.
Wait, what'd you say?
I took it from that guy over there.
Yeah, let me get it. Thanks.
During the 8x, you know. Have anything that supports it.
Oh, 15 left.
Then we should go towards the circle.
How's everyone with healing? I have a first aid kit and a laptop.
I
One first aid.
only have 4 bandages.
Only have one first aid.
Okay. Alright, so let's stay 2 and 2. And you and me stay together and Pip and Pooch stay.
Sorry, Pip. I'm gonna change.
Contact?
Oh, I see.
290?
Yeah,
You need help.
I'll be alright. One guy, I think. My vest is fucked though.
Whoa! Teleported like 50 feet.
Here's more bandages.
I don't see them.
Contact
Yeah.
push, 150, 105. Close, very close.
Coming.
I kill him.
Okay.
Okay.
Does he have a
Go,
vest?
get inside. Get inside the circle.
Ant, come on. We still have 2 guys to 300-ish. Did that guy you got have a vest on him, Ploosh? Or a Pip?
I probably killed him.
Okay. The vest is fucked. Alright, let's go around that side.
Oh,
Where'd you
we
get
got
him?
us another dog catchers group, by the way.
Oh, wow. Pip, where'd you get him?
Outside the circle.
Oh, fuck that then.
Gonna push this compound.
Okay. Fuck. Hold on, let me heal. Oh, I didn't realize I had a level 1 helmet too. Push, I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Watch out to our west.
Yeah, behind us. Top of the hill.
West?
One hit.
that everybody?
West, west,
I
west.
see him.
He's running at the
Got
compound.
him.
Yeah, good job.
Straight down.
We have to get inside the circle, guys.
Yep.
I'm gonna rush this rock.
Oh, look at that. Just spread out.
I'm in.
Okay.
Contact.
Guys,
350,
95.
one guy. Fuck. Someone get it. If someone get in to me quick, I'm in cover.
I'm trying.
Yep.
Kill that guy?
Pip, a little bit to your left. There's gonna be somebody.
Nice.
He's really low.
Knocked.
Nice.
Knocked.
Yeah, don't dress us, don't dress us.
I wanted to be part of the action.
Ooh.
Follow me.
Fuck. Nice.
Oh.
Good win. Jeez.
I smoked those guys.
Loosh.
Railgun.
Yeah.
Kills, baby.
0 kills.
Excuse me?
I did a lot of hits without killing people as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a good round. Fuck.
Can you check like the stat of the server?
No.
Like at the top GOG now?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, I just had Avengers spoiled for me.
And keep
Did
it
you
for
know?
you then.
Did you know Batman dies, Harry?
I didn't know anything, but I do fucking know.
Who spoiled it for you?
Reddit.
Oh, you idiot.
Yeah, I clicked the wrong link and ripped me.
Alright, I'm gonna shut this stream down so I can start saving highlights.